The moment I saw this guy on screen in Cars on the Road, I immediately thought back to Rosco, the Thunder Hollow Demolition Derby host who was kind of a jerk to McQueen and Cruz by locking the gates on them. He kind of felt like a villain. Like, if there was a whole movie about Thunder Hollow and the Demolition Derby, like, this guy would have been the villain. Like, it would not have been Miss Fritter or any other contender. It would have been this guy. He just gave off greasy vibes. Well, unlike Rosco, Tony Motorfelt actually is a really cool character to me. But yeah, they're the exact same model for the most part. We're going to do an extensive comparison between the two and then also compare them to the little Rosco that they originally released, which leads me to my next point here, that if Tony Motorfelt was released a couple years ago when the Deluxe line was still around, he would have been one because, of course, this was the single version of Rosco back in 2017 when they thought he was a little tiny dude here, and then they realized that they severely messed it up. So the next year, they did do him as a Deluxe, and they enlarged him considerably, made him way better, made the expression look a little bit more accurate. He looks a little bit more smug now instead of jolly, because, yeah, this is definitely more accurate. So this was a Deluxe. They released it multiple times. You got a Thailand release as well. And yet, here we are with the exact same model. He's taller now because he has a light bar, but he's a single. So, hey guys, I'm starting to think that removing the Deluxe line wasn't so bad after all. I mean, just the other day, we reviewed Chris Freightman, another new character, a single, that would have been a Deluxe if they still did Deluxes. Now, I think overall it's still a net negative because you're not going to get characters like Miss Fritter anymore who are blatantly Deluxes. Or if Stu Scatter Shields or other cars like that. I don't know how they'll ever release Ivy again outside of a 3-pack on Amazon. So who knows? But maybe for you, I think a lot of people would agree that there's a bunch of cars that would have been Deluxes that are singles now simply because Deluxes don't exist anymore. Doug Crankle here very well could have been one. Rumbler Mater, Cryptobuster Mater, all on the cusp, if not past it, into Deluxe land. But hey, they're like, we want to do these characters. We don't have the Deluxe line, but we can make them singles. Like, we can do it. We'll just make the blisters, form them around the car. With Chris Freightman, they just made it bigger. They were able to keep it pretty much on par here for Tony, but he is a girthy one. Like, he is heavy. He's heavier than Chris Freightman. You're getting some good value here, especially if you find him at Walmart for $372 rather than Target for $499, but both you're getting good value. This guy did come out 2024 singles case G. Just unbox it in the description below, and card suggestion pop up in the top right-hand corner. Phenomenal case. We're going to be reviewing the new Thailand variant of Boost with Flames here soon, and then we're going to hop on over to Ruby Easy Oaks, the Easy Idol Cars 1 Racer. I love the artwork that they gave Tony here. He looks angry. Is he angry because he's acting? He's an actor at the end of the day. Or is he angry because McQueen has been so bad and is requiring so many takes for that slime scene that he has to be in? He just stands there and looks all intently at the glob that squirts on the McQueen. Yeah, new for 2024. I love how they just barely squeeze the art in. It's a little cut off up there, but that's okay with me. Expression looks good on the diecast. On the back, you got the exact same 6 cards on the road releases we've been dealing with here for a while. These 3 debuted in case D, these 2 case C, President Mater case E, who we'll be taking a look at here with his squeaky wheels. But yeah, this is a powerful 6. Like, this is basically the Sinister Six if they weren't evil. Like, this is, you got your Green Goblin right there. You got your Mr. Negative up here. You got Kraven the Hunter down here. You got Mysterio right there. I mean, it's just obvious. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? I mean, that's definitely the Lizard and definitely not Vulture right there. But yeah, what am I talking about? You guys get the reference. Some of you do. But anyways, yeah, very excited that all these have come out already. I just wish that they showed Chris Freightman here on the back instead of Tony and vice versa. Like, be a little bit more up to date. This is what they should have been showing. Cases C, D, and E. But at that point, they were still showing older stuff from like Randy Mateo type era, case A, right? So don't love that. Even Mateo would have been nice because this is his first case of 2024. But anyway, I'll be right back with Mr. Motorfelt all opened up. Here we go. This guy looks awesome out of the package. And I don't know, guys. I automatically kind of declared Chris Freightman as my favorite from the case. But I think Tony's actually going to give him a little bit more of a run for his money than we think. But we're just going to show a couple images of him from Cars on the Road there. He does appear a lot. You get speaking lines. And that's what I like. Like, I would rather get more of these characters that have had some lines and some contributions to the media, whether it be a series, episode, show, movie, whatever it may be, instead of just purely background characters. I mean, I'm cool for those too, but after we get through all the like supporting characters that have some speaking lines, that's why, you know, what was the one character? Yeah, Josh Coolant was so desired because he actually had speaking lines in Cars 2, but they didn't release him until 2020, 7 years after the movie came out. Well, no, 9 years after the movie came out. And also, still, they have yet to do that blue gremlin with the headset. And then, very similar model. In fact, pretty much the same model as this guy, just without all of this stuff, the cap and the canopy in the back, would be the Thunder Hollow announcer. But that will be a customizable character once we get Barney Cones here in the next case or so, who is the same model as Rosco and Tony, just like I said, without the cap and the canopy. We'll just have to remove the little push on his front, but we'll get to that later, guys. We need to focus here on Tony Motorfelt today. I love his expression here. He looks a little concerned here. He's like, oh, how much longer am I going to be here watching this guy get slimed because he can't provide a good enough reaction? How hard is it? Now, the real question is Tony Motorfelt his name in the movie, or is it actually like the car's name? Like, is it the character he's playing in the movie within the episode, or is it just his actual character's name in the episode? Like, who knows? I think it's his actual name. I don't think it's who he's playing. He's basically like, they probably wouldn't even really name all the characters in the movie. He would just be considered the sheriff in the movie. So begs the question, what does Tony Motorfelt look like when he's not on the job? Like, does he just look like a basic pickup truck without all the doodads and whatnot? But yeah, this guy's super cool. You get a hefty amount of metal here. Like, this is all die-cast metal. Even this part right here, which is crazy. Only part that's plastic is the roof, the cap, the tire here in the back. This honestly might be... I kind of like this guy almost more than Chris Freightman here. This is crazy, guys. But yeah, he's got the couple little lights up here. Those are plastic pieces, so they stand out nicely. You do have another little light there. Lots of dirt detailing on the hood, little rust and whatnot, because he's got to look the part. He's got to look like the grizzled, dirty, kind of gritty sheriff. Almost reminds me, especially with the colors, because the colors are similar to Hopper's uniform in Stranger Things. Look it up if you guys don't know what I'm referring to. But he gives off that type of vibe. Like, I mean, even what they're investigating is very similar in nature to the stuff in Stranger Things, like slime and gooey stuff that you don't know where the hell it came from. Man, is this guy a parody of Hopper from Stranger Things? It kind of seems like that. And President Mater, your wheels are so squeaky. But yeah, no, the grill is very nice here. And I comment on that because it's die-cast metal, whereas, hey, the grill on Tony or Chris Freightman over here, I keep getting their names mixed up, is plastic. I get their names mixed up because they really aren't, they're very generic. I mean, they're just like, here's a little carified name, and oh, yep, here's another little carified name. I'll get it eventually, don't worry. Plastic bumper here. Let's take a look at the base real quick. TO7A. I like how they put some of the text on these other plastic pieces of the base, the little steps. But yeah, produced during the 7th week of 2024 at the A factory. And this base is very unique the way they organize all the text. I love how these are separate plastic pieces, like the bumper is up there. Let's take a look at the sheriff decals here. You do have sheriff with a police badge, and then just all spelled out there as well. Looks really good. That's not the clearest decal in the world, but it works. This is quite the ledge that he has here on the side as well. Big plastic side view mirrors that are bendy. He has the sheriff decal on his cap here as well, which is a light tan, but also, again, on the bill there, quite gritty. I'm sure he's had the cap for a while. Is that something you think cars could switch out? Like, is it like a baseball cap where you could just switch it out? I don't know. I think it's a little more permanent, but you could probably switch it out. It's just a roof piece. You got the light bar up here, which also provided some weathering around the edges. Really nice, though. It's just a nice light bar. I know they've used light bars like this repeatedly. I mean, obviously, McQueen has like the exact same one, but it looks good. Gets the job done. Now, this roof piece here in the back does kind of have a little grit to it. Like, you can kind of see the texture of it, and it feels like that, too. So, that's really nice. I like that. I appreciate it. Got the plastic window. Not the plastic window. This is the plastic window. This is a metal window. I love that the spare tire here on the back has a painted wheel, because it's always irked me for years and years that Sarge's spare tire on his back, the wheel is not painted itself. It's the same color as the tire, and it looks super ugly because of that. But they got it right here with Tony. His license plate is MO2-08E. Orange text on that yellow doesn't stand out great, so I can barely read it, especially because it's a little blurry. But yeah, you got some nice continuation here of the dirt detailing all up and throughout here, man. He must have been venturing into some unknown, uncharted territories with the way that he's gotten so dirty all the way up to the top of his roof almost. I love how this is such a great detail, by the way. One side little exhaust pipe that pops out from the left. I never noticed that on Rosco. He does have that. So that's cool because it's not on the other side, and it required a slightly different, notching here on the base. So it's not fully uniform, not symmetrical on both sides. Obviously, same thing with the spare tire here. But yeah, this is really cool. I'm really digging this release. He's way better than I thought he was, even though he is just a reskin of Rosco here. I mean, down to every detail except for that light bar. He's got this matte finish, which makes him look a little more plasticky than diecast, but they are diecast in the exact same spots. Over here, here. Plastic steps there on the side. His are just brown. And this is the Chinese version of Rosco, not the Thailand version. So there are going to be maybe a couple more slight differences than if we were comparing the Thailand Deluxe Rosco to Mr. Tony Motorfelt here. Now, they did change up the model where the mouth is there, so that's another pretty big difference because that's actually retooling the diecast mold, whereas the light bar would just be, notching the plastic cap. Now, Rosco's dirt detailing is way more cartoonish and unrealistic because they just put some solid mud splashes here. Like, it doesn't look realistic at all. This looks way better. I do think this is more rust than dirt, and this is definitely supposed to be mud, but why aren't his tires muddy then? Mine, they look a little muddy, but it's just the grit from my table here, so don't take that into consideration. Rosco has a way, the Chinese decals are just way better here. You have the Thunder Hollow decal on the window, and Charge, because again, very villainous in Charge. He does have very similar wheels, but painted differently. These are gray with rust, and these are just kind of bright orange, or maybe that's supposed to be mud. Same thing with these steps here, but they don't do a great job with the mud on Rosco. He really should be way muddier, if we're being honest. But yeah, I was really happy when they did do this deluxe version of Rosco because the plastic version is ridiculous. It is so stupidly small. Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. You're cute. You're very cute. You're adorable. But you do not live up to the semi-villainous Rosco and his posture and intimidation factor that he has in the movie. They also just made him way more accurate with the coloring of the roof here, as you can see, and on the side there, coloring of the wheels. This single version of Rosco, we were in like our Cars 3 honeymoon phase of August 2017 when this guy was released. So we didn't really care all that much. But man, this release sucks. Like, let's be honest. There's so much inaccurate about it. And it is like 2/3 the size of what it should be. Maybe even less than that. It's like, 5/8, 1/2 of the size it really should be. So I'm glad that they did not revert back to the smaller size of this model so that they could release Tony Motorfelt, because I could have totally seen them doing that. Been like, all right, guys, we want to do this character, but we don't have Deluxes anymore, so we can't do him in the accurate size. Let's just do him in the smaller, inaccurate size so we could say we made the character. I am so glad they didn't do that. Applaud, bravo, Mattel. Really happy about that. And maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe, you know, at this point, we're just commending Mattel for things that should be taken for granted, honestly. But you got to give him credit where credit is due. Now, I do want to compare him to Deputy Hazard McQueen right here. Colored similarly, but not exactly the same. It's more tan than the brown over here. But they do work in tandem. I do kind of wish they had, like, similar decals. Like, the Sheriff decal is different than the Deputy decal. I mean, I guess that makes sense. You know, one's Deputy, one's Sheriff, but still, like, you'd think they'd work in the same county or something. I don't know. Maybe Bella Cadavre has some reason, some rationale behind it. But yeah, really cool recreation of the scene there. If you could get some props and make it look realistic and build that set up again. Now we just need Mad Scientist Mater 155 scale, and we need the action star car that was fighting off all the zombies. We need a van zombie, but that one would definitely be a deluxe because it's a van and not a coupe like Doug Crankle here was. But yeah, no, it's really cool. This does give off Stranger Things vibes. Stranger Things has nothing to do with zombies, but it does have to do with the supernatural. Bella Cadavre is small compared to Tony. Why do I want to compare Tony Motorfelt to Paul Oakley? I have no idea, but are we going to do it anyways? Hell yes, we are. Maybe a more apt comparison is Marco Axelbender, because it's another larger police model with a light bear. Are they really similar whatsoever? No. Is Paul Oakley more similar to Tony Motorfelt than Marco Axelbender? No, come on, Mr. Docketer. Stop goofing. I almost pulled out my Nico Hajakberg Custom, the yellow, basically the yellow Citroen H van, Paul Oakley, that Mattel never did. They only did Brett Warrenwagon and Paul Oakley, which honestly, that's probably plenty. So there you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching. I am in quite the internal conflict right now because I do not know which I prefer between Tony Motorfelt and Chris Freightman. How about you guys let me know in the comment section below and make a case for why you think one is better than the other. They are always eternally going to be compared to each other because they debuted in the exact same case. I could think of a lot of characters that are always pinned against each other because of that. I mean, let's think all the way back to 2015 when Sajan Korea and M. Fendrickson were released together in the same case. I mean, I'm telling you guys, you know what I mean. Bob Pulley and Jerome Ramped. It happens all the time. I just can't decide this time. So you guys convince me one way or the other. Thanks as always for watching. Bye now.